The Cobra Terradrome is really incredible.
That's Dr. Mindbender. And now, look, they've captured Flint.
It's time to warn the Joes, but suddenly they launch the Firebat.
Hey, welcome to Half the Battle. Today we're going back to the comic. But first, did anything important happen in the last issue?
Oh, right. G.I.Joe headquarters blew up. Also, Cobra Commander and Destro are presumed dead.
So yeah, the last comic was kind of an important one.
Well, let's see what's next in issue 54, Launch Base. The cover looks promising. Flint parachuting down while being shot at by a firebat with a conquest on fire in the background. Now that's a good hook for the reader. The opening page has Snake Eyes throwing flowers down the pit of the, pit out of respect for Destro. The next page shows a Rattler coming in and dropping a wreath, courtesy of a devastated Baroness.
But how does Cobra as a whole react?
They, seem to be taking it quite well, with Serpentor saying leadership has simply passed to him. He's entertaining the new military junta of Sierra Gordo, as Cobra is getting into the arms dealer business. Specifically, they're selling terradromes. Meanwhile, back at the pit, two important things happen. Slipstream is introduced to the team, and we find out Destro and the Commander are alive and are trying to dig their way out of the collapsed headquarters.
Yeah, like anybody really thought they were dead.
Cobra sets up the first terradrome in Sierra Gordo, explaining how easy it is to assemble because it's all prefab. This is in no way meant to advertise the toy, of course.
No, sir!
The Joes find out about the base, and Airtight of all people suggests sending somebody in to check it out. Somebody awesome like Snake Eyes. Hawk thinks that's brilliant and sets a plan in motion. And sure enough, brand new Joe Slipstream goes in with Flint. Cobra picks up the Conquest jet and they scramble the Terradrome's Firebat. Though the AVAC, simply called Firebat Pilot here, is colored wrong, being almost entirely red instead of being the mostly silver of the toy.
What follows is very much the meat of the issue.
A glorious air battle between the new Conquest and Firebat that lasts for like 5 pages. There's tension, moves, counter-moves, and plenty of action.
I'm not gonna describe it in detail. I want you to read this comic for yourself. It's that damn good.
Though I will point out there's a part where a jet flies under a rock bridge thing that seems to appear in every damn movie featuring fighter jets. Where did that cliché come from? So, at the end of this intense dogfight, naturally the Conquest, loses?
Wait, what? Maybe I shouldn't have skipped over quite so much.
Well, the jet is gonna crash, but Flint manages to bail out and parachutes down, with Cobra ready to intercept him, however, so it's not all good.
Or is it?
The Crimson Twins find and capture him without much of a fuss. Well, looks like a win for Cobra. Until Hawk gets a message from Slipstream saying the mission has been accomplished. He used a missile to simulate a crash, and Flint has been delivered. Except Flint is right there with Hawk. So, who could this be?
What mystery man could be so daring? Who would have the skills to... Yeah, it's Snake Eyes. Of course it's gonna be bloody Snake Eyes.
Quote-unquote Flint is brought in, where he'll be able to study the Terradrome from the inside, just as was planned. What wasn't planned, however, was that Mindbender has brought an upgraded version of the brainwave scanner for interrogation. And Snake Eyes has had previous experience with that device, so, in another twist, he is actually in trouble.
And speaking of peril...
The comic ends with reminding us Destro and the Commander are still down there under the rubble and are now also in danger of drowning. And that was Launch Base.
Overall, it was a great issue, though I do have one point of criticism.
They made it too damn obvious Flint was a disguised Snake Eyes. It should have been far more subtle. Airtight says they should send Snake Eyes in, but using him would mean Cobra increases security tenfold. Then the so-called Flint never talks, which is fine, but they draw attention to it. Also, we saw that Flint was injured.
You know what would have been better?
Not have Airtight name-drop Snake Eyes, instead just saying they need a specialist. Also, not drawing attention to the fact that Flint doesn't talk. Maybe then it would have actually been a surprise.
And you know what was actually a subtle hint?
When Flint is being captured, he has an Uzi, Snake Eyes' gun of choice. That was a nice touch, and should have been the only real clue. As it wasn't really the twist they were hoping for. The brainwave scanner, on the other hand, now that was a neat twist.
But like I said, it's still a really, really good issue.
And you know how these comics were ultimately made to sell toys? Well, they showcased the Terrordrome and Conquest here, but not in a distracting way. It all felt like it was naturally part of the story. I know it seems like I'm damning with faint praise here. Yeah, the toy commercial wasn't blatant, but I don't mean to. It really does show the talent of the writer, and it's worthy of special note here.
So yeah, go find this issue and read it. It's great. Well, I'll see you next time, everybody. And hey, why not like, share, and subscribe if that's your thing?
The Cobra Terrordrome is really incredible.
That's Dr. Mindbender. And now, look, they've captured Flynn.
It's time to warn the Joes, but suddenly they launch the fire bat. Live the adventure of G.I.Joe. Cobra Terrordrome comes with fire.